What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to First Look, a series where we talk about some early season observations of the 2021 draft's best prospects. Today we have 7-foot big man Evan Mobley out of USC. There's a lot to talk about with him even early on in this season, but as always we'll start with the likes, go to the improvement areas, and then finish off with certain things I'll be looking for or just interest points with him as a player moving forward. Starting off with what I like about Mobley's game, he's got great agility and overall athleticism for a 7-footer. He moves about as smooth as a guy his size possibly can. There's just so much raw talent there with his athletic ability that is waiting to be tapped into. He has hardly the wasted movement we saw from guys like Okongwu and Wiseman last year. The Wiseman has already cut some of that out in the league. Mobley is on a different level. He sort of glides across the court, and he's still a really young player. He doesn't necessarily have that high level explosiveness, but everything else is top tier. Moving on to his offensive skill set. He's efficient, taking just about 10 shots a game in a variety of spots on the court. He's shown great touch on jump hooks and other shots around the rim, showed off the face-up game, has the mid-range going, and is a confident three-point shooter, shooting about 42% on nearly 2 attempts a night. He reminds me somewhat of a bigger, raw Chris Bosh or somewhat of a young KG, though the demeanor and motor between those two is miles different. I don't know if he'll ever become that prolific of a scorer, but he's got a chance as he grows into his body physically. He's also a pretty good decision maker with the ball in his hands. He averages nearly 2 assists a game, and he just has a good feel. Has the potential to be special here in this area with a few years of development and NBA level spacing. Another major piece of Mobley as a player is his length. He looks to be a legit 7-footer, and he boasts a 7'5" wingspan. I don't know if it's the short shorts, but Mobley looks 7'7" out there sometimes. He covers a lot of space with his length and is truly a presence despite being slim. Opponents 100% feel him out there on the college court. His radius and ability to space the floor vertically, along with bothering shots across the paint, is great. Which leads us into his defensive versatility and prowess. He's really good on this end despite a few mental lapses. He covers ground well and can hold his own on the perimeter. He averages 3.5 blocks per 40 minutes. He's an adept shot blocker and rim protector who has pretty good timing. Most importantly, he's got an amazing ability to do it without fouling. He's committed just 15 total fouls in 8 games on the year. And again, on the perimeter, there just aren't a whole lot of guys who can move this well in space in a variety of coverages all the way from hedges to drop and even switches. And lastly, the grab and go potential is there. He's still a bit hesitant and gets it to his guards often, but when he brings the ball up, things still run well. I'm a huge fan of his potential here. You can see it being a huge part of his game in the future as he gets into the NBA. I wouldn't call him a bad free throw shooter, but he's at 60%, so I'll be monitoring where he ends up throughout the year, more from a conditioning mental standpoint. He can certainly shoot it as he's shown with his form and other attempts on the court, but things can get tough, especially for a big who plays nearly 35 minutes a night. I'd like to see if he's capable of knocking down the big ones in late games, and just where his percentage ends up in the end. Given the standards that he has for himself and others have on him, I think his free throw percentage is something he could definitely improve upon. And for the last section is how he attacks games he has clear mismatches against, and against a team like Washington, who was going to zone he and his brother all game. He's been good for 10 shots tonight. I'm interested to see what his season high is and obviously how he gets it. And if there will ever be any moments where he tries to take over if things get rough or he catches fire. Aside from his 0.0 shots game against Utah, Mobley had been super consistent this year in terms of offensive output. Now, if he piles up a bunch of 0 attempt games, there will definitely be an issue likely with his mentality and the mindset of his coach and teammates. So his assertiveness and energy offensively will be something I'll be keyed into throughout the season. Like we mentioned before, how he handles physicality. This Pac-12 group of bigs is definitely nothing to write home about, but a matchup against guys like N'Faly Dante at Oregon, Tubelis and Brown at Arizona, Obagidi at Washington State, and Nate Roberts at Washington. They're definitely not in his class talent-wise, but some of them have about 30 to 40 pounds on him and a couple years in age as well. Most importantly, defensively, I want to see how Mobley defends them in the low post, as he's been a bit hesitant to bang or make his presence felt down there. It may determine if he comes into the league more as a hybrid 4-5 or somebody who you can trust being your center full-time, barring any huge physical breakthroughs after the season. That's going to do it for this first look at Evan Mobley's game. Right now I see him as a surefire top 3 pick, just given his potential on both ends for a big who can play at a couple different positions in the modern NBA. Obviously this projection has the potential to change, but right now, depending on the team, I wouldn't be surprised if he made a legitimate run at that first pick. Appreciate you guys for watching the video. Comment down below what you think of Mobley's game and who you want to see next. Make sure to like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new. I'm Keandre, this is Intellect, and I'm out.